Good afternoon, Nina madam. Dr. Lisayane. Hi.
ഹലോ ഞാൻ കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? ഹലോ അലിസ മാം, ക്ലാസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്താലോ?
മാഡം വർഷ മാഡം മാഡം മാഡത്തിന് ആ സ്ലൈഡ് ഷെയർ എന്തോ ചെറിയ ഒരു ഇതുണ്ട്, അത് ക്ലാരിഫൈ ചെയ്തിട്ട് നമുക്ക് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാം മാഡം. മാഡത്തിന് അത് Over to the MCs to start the program.
Can you hear me?
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Okay.
Shall we start, ma'am?
We can start.
Okay.
Good evening all. The MCs for the day will be myself, Dr. Teresa, and accompanying me, Dr. Jugnu Matthew, lecturer, Department of Prosthodontics. Freedom cannot be achieved unless women have been emancipated from all kinds of oppression, echoed by Nelson Mandela. On this note, let me warm-heartedly welcome you all to the Gender Sensitization Campaign, Kanal 2021, initiated by Mahila Shakti Kendra Ernakulam and organized by our Annoor Dental College, Muvatupuzha. We feel immensely proud to have two eminent speakers with us who will be enlightening us on gender relations and gender legislation on the following 2 days. Annoor has always been a host to various organizations and events. We render our hospitality to each and everyone, and that being the very reason of our motto, as one who serves. Our college was founded in the year 2003 by late Janab T.M. Sidi Haji. The expertise and quest for furthering excellence in professional education persuaded Annoor to impart quality education in dentistry and also to provide good health and well-being to all the sections of society. We are proud to say that Annoor has been ranked 22nd among the private dental colleges and 30th among all the dental colleges in India by the prestigious The Week magazine, and also has been recognized as the College of the Year 2019 by the Higher Education Review magazine. We are also proud to be a part of an institution that has accomplished the accreditation made by National Assessment and Accreditation Council with B++ grade, which is highest among all the standalone colleges and 6th in India. Now, let's take a quick view of our campus.
History has proven that those who dare to imagine the impossible are the ones who break all the human limitations.
यस्यां समुद्र उत सिन्धुरावो यस्यामन्नं पृष्ठयः सम्बभूव यस्यामिदं जिन्वति प्राणदेय सा नो भूमिः पूर्वमेव दधातु.
In support of women empowerment and development, Annoor too has its own women's brigade wing, which stands for Women in Glorious Service, and each member does their part to its fullest. This isn't just a group, but always part of numerous activities and recognizes each other's contribution and act as a source of inspiration. Together as a team, we have no limits to what we as women can accomplish. Let's take a quick look into the happenings of the women's wing of Annoor. Now, moving on, it's time to welcome our speaker as well as all those who've joined us today. And for this, let me invite Dr. Lisa George, Vice Principal, for the welcome address. Ma'am, please.
Respected dignitaries of the day, a warm good evening, one and all. On behalf of the management, staff, and students of Annoor, I take this time to welcome each and everyone gathered here on this online platform. Recently, there is a focus on the need to sensitize gender issue in campus, as education is the catalyst for change. It will instill positive thoughts right from the young age and will definitely enable to tackle gender issues. Gender has to be seen as a spectrum instead of two sets of opposing ideals, as put forth by Emma Watson. To throw more light on this, we have with us an eminent speaker, Dr. Nina Joseph, retired faculty from the Institute of Management in Government. We wholeheartedly welcome you to this prestigious institution, ma'am. There is no better person than you to sensitize both men and women alike, as this will have a great impact in the future of our nation. We have with us Mrs. Varsha, Ernakulam District Coordinator for Mahila Shakti Kendram, who has supported and coordinated in bringing out this program. We welcome you, ma'am, too. The management of Annoor has been a strong pillar of support ever since its inspection in 2003. I wholeheartedly welcome our Administrative Chairman, Advocate T.S. Rashid sir, and the Director of Annoor, Mr. T.S. Benyamin, for the constant support and motivation. A person behind such initiatives is none other than our principal, Dr. Jiju George Baby, who is the driving force to bring Annoor to such a glory, which is evident from the achievements. I welcome you, sir, for the program. He is always supported by the ever-charming and supportive Students Dean, Dr. Jose Paul. I welcome you, sir, and I welcome all the heads of the department and my dear colleagues to this program. A warm welcome to all the participants, the students, the interns, and postgraduates of Annoor to this program. I welcome the Annoor Women Brigade, whose unity and support has been helpful in bringing out this program. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, for addressing the gathering. Next, let me invite Dr. Nisi Cherian, Lecturer of Department Public Health and Dentistry, to introduce our distinguished speaker for the day, Professor Dr. Nina Joseph.
It's my great pleasure and honor to introduce our very prolific and renowned speaker for today, Dr. Nina Joseph, Professor, the 3rd Faculty Institute of Management in Government. Ma'am is a PhD holder and she has facilitated the publication of handbook for collegiate education department and has also implemented about 45 training programs on the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. She was also a team leader for Customs Satisfaction Survey. She had delivered guest lectures in corporate sectors, banks, NGOs, colleges, etc., and also presented research papers in international and national level seminars at various places in India and abroad. Ma'am has also authored a book on gender-related problems of women, women's empowerment and Panchayati Raj, and contributed the chapter Missing Link between State and Community. She has done training in project management from the University of Bradford, UK, have done many short-term courses on gender budgeting and gender-based violence against women and children from Missouri, and the list goes endless. With these few words, I would like to welcome Dr. Nina Joseph ma'am to enlighten us with the words of true wisdom.
Thank you, Dr. Nisi. Requesting all the participants to put your queries into the chat box to be discussed by the end of the session. Now, over to the speaker.
Okay. Thank you so much. A very good evening to one and all. Thank you so much for the generous introduction. Thank you so much for selecting me to interact with you. And thank you so much for the digital tour to your esteemed college. I enjoyed that tour and also I was watching the activities. Very good, very nice. Okay, now shall we start? So now can you see my slide?
Ma'am, not yet, ma'am. You just have to do a screen share.
No, actually I did that. Let me see. Okay. Now can you see?
Not yet, ma'am.
Hmm?
Not yet. Not yet.
Now?
No, ma'am.
Oh, I thought you were able to see that.
Earlier we saw.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Screen share it is. Now, what's the scenario? Can you see?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Yes.
So, but that is spread out, not in that.
Yeah. Still, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's okay, ma'am. If you can put in the slide presentation mode.
But slide presentation, but I have some problem. I have 2 screens. So, okay, is it readable?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you can see the first screen. This is what we are going to discuss. As you know, this is a program launched by Government of Kerala. Especially it was in quick response to Vismaya issue. So there was a thinking that such campaign should be there all over the state. And they have given me a module to present. Because since this is a campaign, the same module will be discussed in all the colleges throughout Kerala. At the end of that, I have my own contributions. And if time permits, we will go into that. Okay. So this is the what I'm going to present is the module provided by Government of Kerala. In that there is introduction, then a clarification regarding genders and sexes, then about patriarchies, then about the establishment and consolidation of patriarchy, 5th, the necessity for change, and 6th, availability of support system. Okay. So now we are moving into the section on introduction. And we are focusing on gender relations because gender, we experience gender in many ways, but especially when it comes to relations between man and woman, or a man and third gender. Or non-binary, we might call them. So in the introduction, it was introduced that we are not speaking about men and women alone, but also on the non-binaries also we will be touching upon. And now let us have a look at this. And actually, Kerala is very advanced in certain aspects. For example, in the man-woman ratio, Kerala, do you think that Kerala has a favorable ratio or unfavorable ratio? Anybody can respond? Okay, no response. So actually in Kerala, there are 10,084 females for 1,000 males. The proportion is that 1,084 is to 1,000. So women are more. What does it signify? So actually, if there is no external interference or intervention, the number of women will be more than number of men. Why so? Actually, when we think about throwing a dice, 50% chance that it is heads and 50% chance that it is tail. But here, that proportion is not working out. The wisdom of nature is working out. A woman in her lifetime can give birth maximum to 22 children. I don't know, you may challenge me, you are medical people. But for a man, it is unlimited. So the body of a woman is made more tough, and her survival, chance for survival is more. So it is 1084 is to 1,000, which is very good. And National Family Health Survey, the data for 2019 and 20 show that in the women in the age group 15 to 49, literacy rate for males is 98.2. What is the literacy rate for females? Less or more? What do you think the scenario in Kerala is? Think it is not less, it is slightly more, that is 98.3. Then when coming to life expectancy, according to Kerala Development Report 2021, the data says that life expectancy for males is 72.5, while the life expectancy at birth for females is more or less. What do you think? If it is more, by how much it is more? It is 72.5 for males and it is 77.9 for females. That also Kerala is forward. And maternal mortality rate. How are the mothers treated in Kerala during the childbirth? What is the facilities? In India, for 1 lakh live births, 113 mothers die. But in Kerala, only 43 mothers die. So that is good compared to the national figure. In Kerala, how do we treat the transgenders? We know that they are not treated well. That is why conventionally we can see that till recent times, all the transgenders, the government uses the word transgender. So I am using that. I feel that it is not an umbrella term. Personally, I would like to call them non-binary, whatever it is. So the first state in India to introduce a policy for transgender is Kerala. Kerala introduced it in 2015. In all these aspects, we are proud. But there are contradictions. Where do the contradictions come? Take the case of the number of MPs. What is the representation in Lok Sabha? From 1957 to 2019, we can say that the percentage of women MPs in India is 4.4, 5.4, 7.3, and now it has reached in 2019, it is 14%. To be exact, 14.49%. Is it something to be proud about for India? And In Rwanda, RWAND, which is somewhat in Central Africa, it crosses 60%, more than 60% of legislators, parliamentarians are women. Here we are only 14%. Definitely not something to be proud about. And till date, in Parliament, we have never crossed 10%. That is the old PowerPoint given by government, but now it is 14%. In Kerala legislature also, the situation is not different. And when you take the political parties and the trade unions, the women in the powerful positions, the leadership position is very less. And when we consider this representation of women in judiciary, there also we have nothing to be proud about. In Supreme Court, this is the old thing. We had only Indira Banerjee when the government prepared this. Now we have inducted more women, and I will show that later, the picture. And in Kerala High Court, it is 36:36 men and 4 women. And now coming to the next thing, what about the violence against women? Before that, I want to tell you, we felt very proud that the sex ratio is 1084 females for 1000 males. But what about the child sex ratio? In the 2001 census, 964 boys, there are only 960 girls. So girls are very less. So the growing, even though in the total population, women outnumber the men slightly, but when it comes to child sex ratio, the boys outnumber girls. When we think about the age group of 0 to 6%, that is something which we have to worry about. And this gives an indication regarding the son preference. Okay. Then regarding the health scenario, and when we think about anemia, and there are many anemic persons in Kerala. National Family Health Survey 4 says that 37.8% is the anemia among women, while among men it is only, in National Family Health Survey it is 32.5. In National Family Health Survey 5, that is the age group of 15 to 49, among women, 11.8% women are anemic. Then when we take about the global gender gap report, global gender gap report, in the gender gap report, we studied, United Nations studied 150, the World Economic Forum studied 156 countries, and India comes out of this. Am I audible and visible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible and you're visible too.
Okay. There are 100 we come in the 140th rank. So that is something which we have to be ashamed of. We are only 140, coming in the 140th rank. The topmost position is occupied by Iceland. They are having the first rank. Pakistan is worse than us. Bangladesh is worse than us. But that is not the matter of consolation. And regarding the physical violence, one study was conducted, and regarding the 2005, a study was conducted by Center for Development Studies, and psychological violence is 69% in Kerala, and physical violence for the married women is 39%. So that is again an alarming figure. Then regarding the economic participation of women in Manir Panchayat, one organization was conducting a study, and they said that the 41% in that Panchayat, 41% were employed, while of women were employed, while men, 87% of men were employed. So women are not having income when compared to men. So that is it. And now coming to the Musot, that is the landed property. Regarding the landed property of men and women, we can see that in Kerala only 23.8% of women are owning property. So very interesting fact comes, the studies reveal that among the propertied women, only 7% of women are facing physical violence, but among non-propertied women, 49% of non-propertied women are undergoing physical violence, domestic violence. That is among propertied women, only 7% undergo domestic violence, physical violence, while among non-propertied women, 49% are subjected to domestic violence 7 times. So I am driving home the point that women should own properties, and this is something which has to be debated. Now coming to genders and sexes. So in the introduction, it is said that it is not just women and men, but we now talk about the rainbow, the spectrum. That is what the girl who introduced was telling. There is a spectrum. That is LGBTQIA++. That is lesbian. So in gender, many aspects are there. One is the physical structure, whether it is male structure, female structure, or intersex. So that is the body aspects, the physiobiological aspects. So that is the external organ, there is difference. And in the hormones, there are differences. And in the internal organs, there are differences. And as medical students, I need not tell you, there are chromosomal differences also. So those differences are coming under sex. That is biological. That is determined by the nature, these differences. Some are born as females, some are born as males, and some are born with both characteristics of both males and females. That is the biological part. Then there is another aspect. Second aspect is regarding the sexual orientation. To which sex you are having sexual attraction. For some people are heterosexual. Men born with heterosexual, for example, men born with male bodies feel attracted to human beings born with female bodies. Sometimes, but and the vice versa. So there is binary, but binary is not enough. It is a spectrum. Sometimes the person born with male body feel attracted not only to females but also to males. So they are called bisexuals. Sometimes for females also it is vice versa. No, and sometimes the males and females will be having attraction not only to the persons with the body structure of the opposite sex, but also that of non-binary. So such people are called pansexual. So see how many varieties are there. Then some people want to express themselves as males. Some persons want to express themselves as females, irrespective of the biology. So there is difference in the expression. And thirdly, sometimes for some people, it is a male mind entrapped in the female body. In the case of others, a female mind is entrapped in male body. Vice versa is also happening. So they feel that they are males, although their body say that they are males. So that the confusion is also there. Then there is intersex that we already discussed. That asexual, they don't feel sexual attraction to anybody. Then plus. We are again, all these permutations and combinations, we are again yet to experience. But we behave as if there are only, it is binary, males and females, and the socially structured attraction, the males towards female and female towards male. But entire spectrum exist, and all these individuals, human beings, have got a right to be what they are. Okay, this is genders and sexes. Then patriarchies. What is patriarchy? Pater means father, archy means rule. Patriarchy means rule of the father. That is the literal meaning. But here we mean rule of males by females. Earlier, when I was before retirement, I used to talk about only patriarchy. That is the male domination, male dominating over female. Nowadays, we have to talk about males dominating not only on the females, but also males dominating on the non-binary. So that is patriarchies. Then, we speak about earlier feminism. There are different strands of feminism. What is feminism? It is not something which is against men. Patriarchy, what is the opposite of patriarchy? It is not matriarchy. Rule of the mother is not the opposite of rule of the father. We should strive towards opposite of patriarchy. Ideally is equality. There should be equality. So that is the solution for all the patriarchal violences. Then establishment and consolidation of patriarchy, and we will go into that. So this is now we are coming to. So we can say, why patriarchy? Some are born with female bodies, some individuals are born with male bodies, and some are born with the biological characteristics of both. But these differences, it is natural, it is God-given. But we go beyond the biological differences, and we behave as if we assign different roles, different rights, and we assign different resources and different responsibilities, different duties to both males and females. And we distinguish it even by giving separate colors for girls and boys. When we go, especially this started in the Western world, when a boy is born, when we want to gift a dress, we don't gift pink dresses, we always gift blue dresses. And for the girl, we gift pink dresses. And in Western, I don't know whether it is here now also, computers for girls will be decorated, it will be flowery, and it will be decorated in a blue manner. And the computers for boys computers for girls will be pink in color, computers for boys will be blue in color. And the type of toys we buy for girls and boys is also different. You want to buy a gift for the birthday, you go to the shop, and I say that I want a gift for a 2-year-old child. Immediately the question will be asked, girl or boy. So we are making distinction like that. The entire society is divided based on gender. And we create also stereotypes. How should girls be? Girls should be subdued. Girls should be submissive. That is a virtue for the girl. Girls should be self-sacrificing. Girls should be always afraid. Kadaram we saw. That is to express the beauty. Kadaram means fear. മാൻപയുടെ പോലെ പേടിച്ചരണ്ട കണ്ണുകളോട് കൂടിയത്, അങ്ങനത്തെ സ്ത്രീകൾക്ക് സൗന്ദര്യം കൂടും. Stereotype. So all this stereotyping is there. For men, they are assertive, they are aggressive, they are violent to some extent, and they can take quick decisions, and they are decisive, they are in the leadership roles. So men in the leadership roles, they are rulers, but women are the ruled over, they are the subjects. So what is the meaning of Bharya and Bhartava? Bhartava means, the literal meaning is Bharikkunnavan. Bharya means the person who is to be ruled over. And again, there is divide between public and private space. So certain spaces are reserved for men and certain spaces are reserved for women. For women, her proper place is home. Now, even though women are entering into many jobs, we know many women are now employed. And in Kerala, we know out of the 14 district collectors, 9 are women. And in India, out of we have 12% plus pilots. But still, when we see the word pilot, only the male image comes into our mind. So when we think about women, we think about women who are inside the home. And even in advertisements, even in stories, everywhere, we portray women inside home. Now some changes are coming. People are becoming increasingly conscious about this aspect of public-private divide. Women also have got a right to be in the public space. Women also have got a right to work, and workplace and home. That is strict division. And now is home a workplace? And now in the new normal situation, home also have become private spaces. And so we discussed that. We discussed what is sex and we discussed what is gender. Now going to the next slide, intersex also we discussed. And regarding the non-binaries, 1.7% of people in this world are non-binary. So I did some arithmetic and found that I took the total population of Kerala and total population of India, and I calculated 1% of the total people in the world. That is equivalent to 37.5% of Indian population. That is, when we speak about the non-binary, the percentage seems very less, but we consider about how much the quantum of it. It is really mind-boggling. 37.5%. If you take the Indian population and you think about 37.5% of Indian population, that much number of non-binaries are there in the whole world. So discussing the rights is important. So transgender we covered, and gender is so sex is something biologically ingrained, but gender is something which is cultural and which is social. Gender is a socio-cultural construction, and the gender, that is the differentiation between what women can achieve, what all spaces women can occupy, what all resources she could have in this family or in the society, and in the society which all spaces she could occupy, and what should be her responsibility. That varies according to time and space. 2 generations back, your great grandmothers, I don't think there would have been any dentists. You have to Google and find out. So now there are so many female dentists in this world. And 1 generation back, you could not imagine about it. You cannot visualize a woman dentist or woman police or a woman pilot or a woman prime minister. So now things are changing. So it depends upon time and space. Okay. Okay. So depending on that, according to the difference in time and space, some stereotypes are there between men and women. So this is how men and women are differentiated even in cartoons. See, blue and pink, pink for girls and blue for boys. So through all these images, our consciousness so we in our consciousness we feel a sharp distinction between men and women. As students of medicine, you know the DNA difference between the males and the human Homo sapiens and the apes is very minimal, less than 2%. So the chromosomal difference between men and women is even much more less than that. But we celebrate these differences. We make a big divide. And there are even books written, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. And earlier, the women were not educated. They were confined to domestic spaces. Their exposure was less. So they behaved as if they are from 2 different planets. But once you are having the same exposure, same education, and once you are reading the same books, you come to know that there is no difference. Whatever the women want, the men also want. Whatever the men want, women also want. Women have career aspirations. They want the intellectual development, everything they want. They want power. They want to occupy leadership positions. Everything is equal. If it were not for social constraints, almost all the aspirations for men and women will be equal. That differentiation is only in the regarding procreation. In order to give birth to children, some differences have to be there in the body structure. So except giving birth and except feeding the children, in all other aspects, Why the difference? And we make a big deal about this difference. And the problem is that whether you are born with a female body or human body, your destiny depends upon that. To what heights you can reach in the career, to what heights you can reach in the politics, etc., depends upon whether you are born with a male body or female body. That distinction need not be there. And see, pink taxis, color blue denotes depth and stability. So we will, so it all depends. Now we will talk about patriarchies. Patriarchy means sexism. What is sexism? What is a sexist joke? It is not sex jokes, but sexist jokes. Bernard Shaw, one joke about him is that one lady wanted to come and came to him and asked whether I can marry you. Then Bernard Shaw said that, and she said that she tried to woo Bernard Shaw and said that if a child is born with my beauty and your intelligence, it would be great. Then Bernard Shaw retorted that, what if the child has my beauty and your brains? So that is a sexist joke. Portraying women through jokes, women are portrayed as, they don't have enough intelligence, they don't have thinking power, they don't have conceptualization power. And this year, no award in Kerala, the jury judged that no award will be given to the serials because women are portrayed in a very negative manner, women and children. So that is sexism. So when an accident is reported, I remember reading newspaper some years back. വളയിട്ട കൈകൾ വളയം പിടിച്ചപ്പോൾ a woman Tahsildar, lady Tahsildar was driving and there was an accident. And the heading was വളയിട്ട കൈകൾ വളയം പിടിച്ചപ്പോൾ. That is when a woman was driving. When a woman was driving, that point was emphasized. So patriarchy, I said, I explained what it is. And based on that patriarchy, so why different characteristics are assigned by society? Why does society say that women should be submissive, women should be self-sacrificing, women should be cooperative, women should have less decision-making power, etc.? Because they want to maintain patriarchy. In order to maintain patriarchy, certain characteristics are assigned to men, certain other characteristics are assigned to women. And who reinforces that? Religion reinforces that, media reinforces that, proverbs reinforces that, folklore reinforces that, and everything reinforces that. Okay, and this differences, this patriarchy is perpetuated through the power structure within the family. Always men are portrayed as the head of the family, and women and men think that authority always vests with men. And women also think that authority is something which lies outside her. Okay. And sexism and okay. Phallocentrism, that's the male sex organ. So earlier there was some thinking regarding that men, even Aristotle was telling that women are less men because she doesn't have that organ. So such thoughts were there earlier. And these stereotypes were there. And now establishment and consolidation of patriarchy. How does patriarchy get established? Through the structure of the family, where males are the head of the family. And through education, now, you know, in government of Kerala, some attempts are being made to audit all the textbooks and to examine whether there is sexism in that. Are girls always portrayed as timid? Are girls, even in mathematics problems, when I studied, in a family there is property. Out of that, in a family there are 5 girls and 1 boy. The total of 75% of the property is given to women, and if the 25% of the property is given to girls. And if the total property is this, how much will each girl get? Some problems like that. That is sexism in education. So there is a lot of things to say. I am skipping that. And in workplace also there is sexism. We know about the #MeToo thing, the sexual violence within a workplace. whether it is in politics, whether it is in cinema field, we see it everywhere. Whether it is in journalism, a lot of examples are there. And the very way in which marriages, am I audible and visible? Excuse me, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. When you take the system, the custom of vivaham, the marriage and the dowry, the women do not get, even though in 1986 among Christians we had a Mary Roy challenged it, and or actually equal property rights for men and women existed in Christian community right from 1925. But it took a Mary Roy in 1986 to challenge it and to get a favorable verdict from Supreme Court in 1986. She got a verdict in 1986, but it and again it took some more years to get it implemented. See, so the women are not given equal property right, do not get equal property right. Again, there is the dowry. The dowry is taken to the husband's house, and the husband, and it is called share. That is not share. It is the purchase, it is the varavila. That is the price at which the men are purchased by woman's family. So you can look at dowry like that. But actually what happens is that the men take the entire control of dowry. So I need not explain that. Vismaya's case is a example. So dowry. So and even Vismaya, that girl, in order for her study to pay exam fees, she was paying a mind-boggling amount, bewildering dowry. But at the same time, she had to beg for 5,000 rupees from her family. So that is the case. So women are uprooted from her home and replanted into the husband's home. Patrilocal. So and that is very, and after the marriage her name changes. Till that name it was Sina Thomas. If she marries Joseph, she becomes Sina Joseph. So again, so in many ways, even her very identity is challenged after marriage. And Nayamavum Varanagudavum, law and the governance system. So nowadays, some positive verdicts are there, but still the mindset of the judges, some of the judges are still patriarchal. And in the media also, we can see a lot of examples, and some changes are happening. That is good. I remember an ad. A boy was a boy, NRI boy. He came for to interact with a girl to find a suitable match for her son. And she was telling, my poor boy, he is doing all his job alone. He is making his coffee, he is making his food, and he is cleaning his home. And it's high time that he get married. So before that lady left, the girl vendor, she came with a packet. It was a newly purchased coffee maker. She said that, please have this and please give it to your son. And it is much more convenient than for him to have a coffee maker rather than a wife, because the no is visa issue. So it's much more convenient, a coffee machine. So it's just a new advertisement was there. Then of course the religious institutions. We know what is happening in Afghanistan, how women are exploited. I need not explain that. So whatever be the religion, whether it is Christian religion, Hindu religion, whether it is Muslim religion, in all the religions we can see lot of anti-women aspects. And all the great souls who instituted the religion, they were progressive. But when the religion became or the spirituality, at spiritual level, all these religious leaders, men and women are equal. But when it comes to institutionalized religion, women are marginalized. And we know the all these institutions, there is women. Is there necessity for change? Actually, we have to question these changes. We have to unlearn many things. And the elder, the old generation like me, should be able to understand the mistakes of this generation and to think and act and work for a new world order. And the women should be groomed in such a way that the student should be groomed in such a way, not in the way our Vismaya was groomed. Vismaya is only one example. After that, there were many examples in the immediate days. One dentist, she was short, and very off late, a girl was subjected to acid attack just to say that the boy wanted to marry her. Then she said no, and immediately she is killed. That is it. So women should be taught and encouraged to stand up for their rights without fear and without stupid superstitions. And we need a new world order, and we have to accommodate all sexual identities, and we have to acknowledge that there are different gender identities. We have to acknowledge the liberty, and our constitution very liberally allows equality, fraternity, everything is there. And the women, the suppression, oppression, discrimination, exploitation of women have to be challenged. Our constitution does not have any place for all these anti-women aspects. Then the government wants me to tell you regarding the availability of support systems, and there is Endakuda from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It is a government system. It is open. Suppose you are stranded on the street in the night, or suppose you don't have a safe place to sleep in Trivandrum, if you call 181, you will be taken care of. And even in the train, if there is any problem, harassment by men, you can have this number 181. Then you must be knowing that in every, this is for domestic violence. Domestic violence, not only the husband's violence violating the wife, but also if the father perpetrate violence against daughter, if the brother perpetrate violence against the sister, and if a man violates perpetrate domestic violence against her auntie or grandmother, a man perpetrating violence against a woman in a domestic situation, the women protection officer is there to help you. In every district there is a woman protection officer, and the entire paraphernalia is there. You can have free legal aid from Kerala Services Legal Authority. There is the medical facilities are there to help the women, and there is counseling facilities the government is providing. In every district it is there. Over and above that, there is also Kudumbashri. In every district there is a Snehida. In the Snehida also there is facilities for staying for 1 week. You can stay there. If you are stranded, you can stay free for 1 week. You will get say domestic, you will get counseling, and all facilities are there. And you can, if there is any violence in the social media, you can email to this email ID. You can please take it down. cyberps.pol. Pol stands for police at kerala.gov.in. You can also approach the nearest police station. Do you want some time to take it down?
Ma'am, yeah, we'll take
Okay.
screenshot also.
Okay, then it's okay. I will skip. Then, thank you. This is regarding the government. Government has given this module. Now, do you have any questions to ask me? How much more time is there? Tell me, organizers.
Ma'am, there's no fixed time, ma'am. If there are any questions, we will continue in that. I think an interactive session will be more.
Okay. So we will go for an interactive session.
Ma'am, we have few questions for you from the chat box.
Okay.
The first question is, when it comes to position of power, women don't stand a fair place, and it is the same for transgender. Can there be a change in the scenario?
When it comes to, tell me once more, when it comes to power,
when it comes to position of power, women, they don't stand a fair place, and it is the same for transgender. So can there be a change in the scenario?
Okay. So what happens is that I told about patriarchy, no? Patriarchy, you are saying that some women also have patriarchal mindset. They don't stand up for the right of women. Is that the question? Is that the question? What do you mean by that?
Ma'am, when it comes to position of power,
Mm.
the women, they don't stand a fair place. And it is almost the same for the transgenders too.
Okay. That is, women do not get justice.
Yes, ma'am. Equal position.
Equal position. Okay. Because that is the problem is that I talked about this domestic violence. So the reason for that, this gender, this patriarchy is all pervasive. It is there everywhere. It is there in the mindset of men, and unfortunately, it is there in the mindset of women also. You talk about a mother-in-law. Who is a mother-in-law? The boy's mother or the girl's mother? We call both of them mothers-in-law. But the real mother-in-law, who is that? The boy's mother. Because the boy's mother has got a powerful position. The girl's mother do not have any position at all. Just to cry thinking about her daughter. But the boy's mother have assumed a powerful position. That is the powerful position which the boy's mother has is derived from patriarchy. It is not the power of the woman. It is the power which patriarchy places in the hands of the woman. And there are many women who has got a patriarchal mindset. So when they assume positions of power, they think just like the men think. Okay. So that is a dangerous position. I will show something. Some of my slides. Okay, I will show it later. I will show it later. So I will just answer the question. Okay, the thank you slide, I will stay there. I am not able to find that. Okay. Okay. So, and even if you go to a police station, the women do not get justice. Because for one example, protection, domestic violence. I know once a police was telling, a woman was coming, she poured petrol on her body and she lit herself, and she was almost a burning torch when she came to the police station. And somehow or other, we were able to settle that and douse the fire. But what happened is that the woman is hysteric, but the man is very calm and composed and cool. Why is it that? Does a woman come to the police station when she gets the first beating? No, that woman might have suffered long years, and when it came to the final breaking point, she rushes to the police station. At the police station, what happens? The way she behaves, of course, it will be hysterical in nature because she is a victim. She is a prey. But the man can be very composed and cool, calm and composed because he is the predator and he can be very cool and composed. For him, he need to play only the defense. So the position which the police people take is that this woman is hysteric. Sometimes even judges feel that. So we don't look at things from woman's point of view. So that is it. Sometimes the police people or sometimes even counselors, they try to compromise. I know one case of domestic violence. The husband was beating her right and left and she was swollen and she was fully wounded. And I know some ENTs say that they will understand that it is a case of domestic violence. They will say because there will be some problem with the ear, the tympanic problem. Sometimes the dentist say that the teeth will be falling down because of the beating of the husband. But they will never say that it is due to the domestic violence. They will say some other reasons. If the leg is broken, they will say that I slipped in the bathroom. So the real reason will not come out. That is one thing. So there should be sensitivity even among the medical fraternity, that they should be able to detect it as such. First of all, the women will not open up. And secondly, the actors in the, whether it is in the medical field, police field, sometimes even counselors, they are not sensitized. When I was in IMG, during my service, more than 45 training programs were conducted on domestic violence. We trained police, we trained everyone. But it is like kadalil kayam kalakya pole. A lot of people are yet to be trained. So it is very difficult. Even if it is trained, the consciousness does not change. So do you know why the women do not get justice? And there are women and they are not familiar with the justice dispensation system. Some of the women, they are afraid to go to the police station. And if they go to the court, they get jittery because they are afraid. The big walls, the black coats of the lawyers, everything invoke fear in them. So there is highly imbalance and the women do not have resources to fight for justice. They depend on the men for their livelihood. Even if it is earning women, they don't have the courage to fight. They fear society. And the society always stigmatizes a divorced woman. While that much stigma is not that there for a stigma of the men. And again, women do not fight for justice. There are many reasons. I am not going into that. It's a big list. There is Stockholm syndrome and there is learned helplessness. Women do not attempt. Even if the women attempt, there are a lot of hurdles. It is a hurdle race for her, very difficult. Even if she gets a good order from the court, I am not discouraging that, but there are many women who have fought to the last. And when I say this, I am not saying that all men are abusers, and I am not saying that all women are victims. But this is the general pattern. And we are talking about women victims because this is a patriarchal setup. I showed that she doesn't have asset, comparatively she doesn't have income. And all these moral, so-called moral standards, that is to encourage women to be submissive. So the entire scenario is anti-women. So that is why we speak about justice for women. So have I made myself clear? Who asked the question? Are you satisfied with my answer?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we have one more question.
Yeah.
As a dentist, how can we contribute to women empowerment?
Yeah. One thing is that I sometimes feel that many women, they might learn dentistry, they might come out with flying colors, but once in the profession, usually women have many setbacks which men do not have. Understand? So what the women should do for themselves, that is one thing which we have to look at. See, can you see this slide? Can you see?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I need not explain, no? So what I advise to women is that whatever be the circumstances, you manage the circumstances in such a way that all the routine jobs you can delegate or distribute or divide. It's very difficult, very easy to say, but and you should definitely invest time in professional development, in reading, no compromise on that. And for that, you manage your other family circumstances to suit that. When I was young, I always, when my children were young, I had 2 domestic aides, one to look after the children, one for cooking. I was not rich, myself and my husband were not rich, but we thought that it is a good investment. And again, this is the scenario at home you have to manage at the best. And the women will have to persuade their husbands to say that, and again, attending seminar, updating yourself, and even before marriage, a lot of negotiations have to take place between husband and wife. Whether arranged marriage is better or love marriage is better, I don't say an opinion about that. Whatever be the type of marriages, before marriage, there has to be a long interval when you interact intensely. And if you feel that you don't sync, you should be bold enough to drop that proposal also. Apply your rationality, don't go emotional. Okay, that is one way you have to do. Another thing is that there is glass ceiling for women. I am not trying to discourage the women. There is a glass ceiling up there. You can reach up there. You know the way up, but there are a lot of hurdles. But you should go on striving for that. And you should negotiate with your husband and negotiate your environment in such a way that you are able to fulfill that. And again, don't spend so much time in doing the routine jobs. Try to delegate that, distribute that. That is one thing. And try to redistribute that. So that is one way to do it. Another way which I have that is you have to be sometimes the women. I know there are many professional women who have a very good family atmosphere, encouraging husband. Everything is there, very happy women. So one message I have for you is that, and this is not the slide I wanted to show. One thing is that you should, when you climb, such women, when you climb, you should be able to lift others, other women. And you have to have female solidarity. There will be women's wing. By that, I don't mean that men are your enemies. Don't look at any man. There should be healthy relationship between women and men. And you cannot look at any man as a potential rapist. That is also very bad. And when you are going to marry, don't look at the would-be as a potential person who will perpetrate domestic violence on you. No, try to understand that person and also try to negotiate. And of course, there has to be opposite of patriarchy is not matriarchy, and patriarchy is not men against women. The men also have got a role. Women, these girls you are going to marry is just like you. They were brought up by parents. They were cared for in their home, and don't expect that they are having all culinary skills and all and the domestic forces their entire should be entirely on their burden. And when you help the wife, don't think that you are doing a great charity. That is her right to be here. The job distribution is her right, and so you should be able to acknowledge the right. And you say happy marriages. Till date, happy marriages are when men conform to that male stereotype and women also conform to that female stereotype. But the world is changing, it is emerging. A woman, a wife which you are going to marry is having all the professional ambitions, all the desires just like you. And it is your duty and responsibility to break this gender stereotypes, equality. Peace, family peace is most important thing. And peace does not mean absence of violence alone. Peace is not absence of violence alone, but along with absence of violence, there has to be equality and justice. Equality in everything. Are you able to acknowledge that? Whatever be that your religion is telling, whatever be the society is telling, when you marry, you want marriage bliss, so you want a companion. Earlier, when people married, they just wanted somebody, a human body, a woman's body to procreate his children and to cook for him, to care for him. Intellectual wavelength, all these things were not heard of earlier. And of course, the love meant you are generous to your wife. Earlier, you are generous to your wife, you are kind to your wife. Now, the scenario has changed. The equality, you have to acknowledge equality. You are modern human beings. A bird used to build her nest 5,000 years ago. And now also they are building the nest in the same way. But human beings, they are not the same now. They have evolved. So we are evolving. So in the case of equality also, evolving is very necessary. Are you satisfied? Is your question answered?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. And women should not say think that men are the enemies. They are allies. Make them your friends. And women should also be self-confidence. And patriarchy, it is a big mountain. You cannot demolish it in one go. You have to be like Thorapan Badi. You have to weaken it. You have to say no at it and weaken that patriarchal structure. Not only women, but also men. Men of quality will stand for women's equality. So we hope that in future we have men of quality. And you help your women, you give, some people will say that I give all equality and freedom to women. You say that as if you are giving. In 1947, when I hear the words, I am giving all freedom to my wife, I will feel in 1947, all the freedom was given to men. And by installment, they are giving to women. Freedom is her birthright. Equality is her birthright. You are not doing a charity to her by acknowledging her equality and freedom. And women, to women, I have said, never trust your fears. They don't know your strength. Believe in your strength and abdicate. Say, throw away Cinderella syndrome, waiting for a prince to come and rescue you. Self-reliance. That is, a bird sitting on a tree is not afraid of the branch breaking. Why? Because her trust is not in the branch, but in her own wings. And women, again, girls, I have to tell you, nobody will give empowerment on a platter and hand it over to you. And nobody will have freedom. Take your freedom. You will have to strive for it. You will have to prove it. If you want to look after your old parents in their age, and if you are the only daughter, you have to fight for that right. But you can, and in the patriarchal world, sometimes you will have to put your foot down and assert your rights. It is my parents, like your parents. I have a right to look after my parents, and I will go there. And if they are in need, I will be there. So sometimes you will have to assert. And so if the men are very patriarchal in a marriage setup or in an official setup, or there will be some fights. So what I have to say is that the choice is yours. Status quo plus peace within inverted commas. You follow the patriarchal pattern, submissive, self-sacrificing, very cooperative, always crying Cinderella. Of course, peace within inverted commas. Or change and turbulence. You cannot fight all battles. There will be everydayness of violence. If you go on fighting, your life will be a hell. You have to pick your battles. For example, your professional development, no compromise. You let your life partner know it. Sometimes in sharing domestic responsibilities, some compromises will have to be there. And in those, when there is compromise between socially unequal man and woman, compromise means always women will be suffering. Compromise actually is a dirty word, but sometimes that might be necessary for the life to go along. But you will have to know which battles you have to pick up. And this is only in the case of men who are patriarchal. In the case of non-patriarchal men, I tell you, you are going to have a blissful marriage. You are going to have a blissful work situation when you respect your female counterpart, whether it is at work or whether it is at home. You are going to have that sajitvam, that partnership, that soulmateship. 1 + 1 should be, is not always 2. It could be more than 2, or it could be less than 2. Negative synergy. Positive synergy is 1 + 1 is more than 2. Your soulmate. You join together. Believe in equality. Believe in equal rights. Believe in equal resources. Believe in not violating her economically, not violating her emotionally. Acknowledge, love, and respect her parents equally as you expect her to love and respect and look after your parents. As a colleague, do not take, I know one veterinary doctor, there will be a lot of professional rivalry also. So some people play gender on that. oh, that veterinary doctor. No, that is a woman. Saying that as if women are less competent. So all those tendencies, and for the men, there are easy tools to subjugate women. The tools are easy. Some of these tools are socially acceptable also. And the society, if a man beat a woman and if the woman runs out of the house, society will say, it is your own husband who beat you. Why should you run out? And sometimes the society tell that if the woman is trying to assert her rights, legitimate rights, the society will tell, maybe it is your mother, maybe it is your neighbor, or it could be anybody, your male colleague who has a patriarchal mindset. They will tell a woman should be shown her place. And sometimes you will have to discipline her. So don't fall into those traps. Be a real man. Be a real man. Remember that men of quality will stand for women's equality. Be that. And be an ally to her. Be a friend for her. And side with her to fight injustice. And you accept and acknowledge your sister as your equal. Give her equal property right. Don't say that you want to have all property right of your father, equal property right. If you are a man of real quality, say that I won't take dowry. That is very unequal, very unjust. And the woman, if she is really liberated, if she has real equality in her head, she will respect and love you for that. And whenever there is injustice against women, stand up for women. And women should lift the other women. There should be female solidarity. There should be networking among women. And see, there are many women who are proved their caliber. You know, the Pfizer medicine mRNA technology, a Hungarian American woman invented that. There was sexism. She was not given fund. She used her own fund and now she is accepted. See, women have to read, reflect, discuss, organize, network. And to the men, I want to say, the women have all the human right to bloom to her full potential. Violence is not only beating her, not only subjugating her, not only exploiting her, not only belittling her and humiliating her. Violence is also not allowing her to bloom to her full potential. Oh, no, don't go for MBS. Oh, why should you? No. This much is enough. No, you stand by her, allow her to bloom to her full potential. And to the men and women, I want to say, this space is not okay for women. It is a man's world, not like that. Whatever be the workspace, you try to transform it. See how workplaces, how the parliament in New Zealand is transformed. One of the parliamentarian woman is speaking, so another man is feeding the child. And in Finland, Prime Minister, when she is attending the session, her husband is sitting nearby and feeding their child, not her child, their child. And in the Sweden, see, the woman is sitting. We need to rethink earlier workspaces, public spaces, only for men. So those spaces were designed in such a way that the women's, some of the needs of the family was not taken care of. Let the workspaces be more family friendly. I won't say women friendly, let it be family friendly. And see these wonderful women. They refuse to be a bonsai. They refuse to bloom to their full potential. They prove to the world that they are capable as men, even more capable as men. When you see the scenario of how the COVID was managed, it is in those countries where women were heading. They were giving more importance to life rather than livelihood. You know how Jacinda Ardern, how she handled that when that in the mosque, when women were killed, when the Muslims were killed, she went to the mosque in the attire, in the hijab or burqa, and she consoled them. I am with you. Not we and they, not you and we. She did not other those who violated They are this. So see, and see these wonderful women. They subverted. You say what women should do. Mary Roy subverted. Marachittu. She said Christian women should have equal rights. Jacinda, you know Malala Yousafzai, who fought for equal rights of women. You know Sunitha Krishnan, she was gang raped and she started Projwala. Now she is caring for trafficked women. And there is Jyotirao Phule and his wife, Savitribai Phule. In Bombay, in Pune, women were not given education. And what should you be striving against? The women don't feel shy that sometimes you will have to take the benefit of reservation. It does not belittle, don't feel humiliated by that. See the situation? What is equality? Everybody is treated the same way. The father can see the play, the game, the elder brother can watch the game, but the younger sibling cannot watch the game. But because all were treated equally, same height, stools were given. But actually, the father does not need any additional facilities. The elder brother, okay, let him keep that. And the youngest son, he needs 2 levels. Now everybody, this is equity. This is equity. When women enjoy reservation, when scheduled castes enjoy reservation, when minority communities enjoy reservation, that is equity. If everybody is treated equally, there will not be equity. Equality is then everybody is able to enjoy everything. That root, equality is the final end, but the root is equity. And yeah. And another thing which I want to mention is that the sexist jokes is a problem. Sexist memes is a problem. And biases are there in workplaces. Even in Christianity, all the saints are the women who suffered. But all the male saints are those who achieved something. Suffering is glorified. And these stereotypes are perpetrated through proverbs. The proverb justifying dominance. Nari barichedam, naragam putedam, poolam kettedam mudinjedam. Upbringing of girls. Amma veli chadiyal, magal madil chadu. The mother should not be smart. She should be submissive. And this is a derogative proverb. Veli kemi amma, appo molu angane aayirikkum. Property. Women and property are supposed to be the same. Mannum pennum, nokiyal nannavu. That is, Penna does not have any agency of her own. She doesn't have any imagination. She doesn't have any plans on her. Pennum vinnu, how can you equate that? And in certain literature, it is said that Krishi idamana penna. Aanennu paranjal vittu vidakkunnavan. Vittu vidakkunnavananu odamasthan. Penninte garbhapatram is just a field, just mannanadu. She is sterile. She does not have any agency of her own. The owner of that bhumi is man. Such stereotyped thinking, that has to be challenged. The men and women together should challenge that. For the men, I am saying that. So this is not a women's issue. All this violence against women, all this inequality, I don't say that it is not at all a women's issue. It is an issue of the society. When Vismaya was murdered, or when she committed suicide, it is not proven in the court yet. If that is the case, not only the mother is crying, not only her sister, she doesn't have a sister-in-law, she has a sister-in-law is crying. Not only her aunties are crying, her father is crying, her brother is crying. So it is not a woman's issue. It is a societal issue. It is a man's issue as well. So it is the sacred duty of the men to join hands with women and to fight this social evil. Delimitation, demarcating the women. Konjonu tuliyal muttolam, pinnin tuliyal chattiyolam. കൊഞ്ചം അധികം കിടന്ന് തുള്ളിയാലും നിന്നെ പിടിച്ച് കറിയാക്കും അല്ലേ? നീ മുട്ടോളം വരെ തുള്ളും, അത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. പിന്നെയും തുള്ളിയാലും നീ ചട്ടിയിലെത്തും, നിന്നെ കൊന്ന് കറിയാക്കും. മാടോടിയ തൊടിയും നാടോടിയ പെണ്ണും, അതായത് മൊബിലിറ്റി ഓഫ് ദ വിമൻ. They are imposing freedom. The man's permission is needed for a woman to get passport. If there is a law like that, if the women cannot drive vehicle in Saudi Arabia, it is changed. And in many places, it is not changed. Then violence. മണ്ണും പെണ്ണും തല്ലും തോറും നന്നാവും. എന്തൊരു പ്രോവർബാണിത്. Imageries വിത്തും മണ്ണും പെണ്ണും. What to say? And the problem is that many of the women also imbibe the patriarchal thing. In National Family Health Survey 2015-16 reports, in the report, out of the total interviewed, 52% of women say that it is okay for man to beat the wife for certain reasons. Which are these reasons? She goes out without permission, she neglects the house, she argues with the husband, she refuses to have sex, she does not cook, she suspects her husband, she shows disrespect to husband's parents. See, 52% of women say that the husbands have a right to beat the wife, and for only 42% of the men say that women have, they have a right to beat their wives. Maybe because men are more cunning and they know which is the politically correct answer. I don't know. National Family Health Survey 4 says that. And the consciousness issue is that, take the case when Sadi, prevention of Sadi, that act came in 1829, but in 1987, 20,000 women took out on the street to fight. To fight for what? To fight for the right to jump into the funeral pyre of the husband. So the consciousness, the religion, the customs, women also subscribe to that. How atrocious in 1987, the poor woman. And when freedom was obtained, Abraham Lincoln, when the blacks got the freedom, some of the slaves said that we don't want freedom. They don't know what to do with the freedom. For them, it is okay. It has become a habit. And in Kerala, hundreds of women took out on the street to say that every month, a few days, we will be impure, so we don't want to go to the temple. So they seldom recognize it as that. 3 aspects of women's disempowerment. One is power. Then another is space. Third is consciousness. So space, women are excluded from certain spaces. Women are, no, don't go, come here. This is not a woman's place. This is a man's place. From sunset to sunrise, no, women should not be on the street. If you are on the street, that is what Nirbhaya's man, he is now hanged. He is no more. He said that. He declared in the media that only bad women will walk on the street during the night hours. Only bad women will go to the cinema along with boys. They did not go to any other cinema. It was a cinema on some thing else, not even a sex-loaded cinema. So all these patriarchal norms. So it's restricting the space of women. Women should not be there. Women should not be priests. Women should not do puja. Women should not do the funeral rites of the parents. The space is restricted. Even the very home in which she was born and brought up, that is denied to her. That is no longer her space. Only her brother, it is a space for her brother. When she come to the marital home, there also it is the husband's house. She doesn't have a space. She is like a bogie tied up to the engine. Whatever be the engine, wherever the engines go, she goes there. No agency of her own. So that should change. So the space, then power I showed. The women in power, very less. Women in politics, very less, abominably less. We are ashamed to say that more than 2 women we have never sent to. We have 20 seats in the parliament, Lok Sabha, for the women. From Kerala, we have never sent more than 2 women. What a shame. And there were many years when we never sent any woman. And that consciousness, I said, we don't want, we are impure. We want to die and jump into the funeral pyre. 52% of the women said that is the issue of consciousness. It is deeply entrenched. It is deeply ingrained. She is brainwashed to think like that. And the men also think like that. And the men think that she is a shackle. Okay. And entitlement feeling. 10,000 rapists were interviewed in a South Asian Pacific study. They were asked the reasons for raping. And they said that feeling of entitlement. She's entitled. I have an entitlement. I am entitled to rape her if she is found in the incorrect place at the incorrect time. Okay. Even if she is in the correct time and correct space, a feeling of entitlement. You ask a girl to marry her, she says no. Okay, I have an entitlement. She is my entitlement. I can kill her. So that feeling of entitlement is very incorrect. And what is about the background of these boys? Most of the cases, these boys were sexually violated during their younger age, some percentage. And a major percentage of them grew up in a home where the father used to perpetrate violence on his mother. And the evidence say that California longitudinal study and some other recent studies say that in 40%, when there is a house where the father is ill-treating and violating the mother, 40% of such boys will become abusers in their married life. Intergenerational transmission is 40%, horrendous. But only 40%. So if some of the boys sitting here are growing up in such a house, beware and resist all temptation. The problem is that they see their father beating and all other emotional violences. It is time for you to challenge it, correct it, use your reason, use your rationality. The women you are going to marry, the woman you are going to marry, the women you have in your workspace, the women you see in the public space, and the women you encounter in the cyberspace, they are human beings like you. They have a right to be equal. They have a right to be non-violated, unviolated, not to be violated. They have a right to be treated with respect. They are equal to you. And the women should shed away this false consciousness. And I request you to develop a critical consciousness. Be rational. Question the customs, men and women. And together there can be a very beautiful life for both men and women. Excuse me, I am in a class. Okay. And do you... and the space, see how women are violated. You know, this lady, 42 years, she was lying down in the bed, unconscious. And she was violated. She was a nurse. Her daily, not the compounder, the cleaning person. She did not leave to that cleaning person. And he sodomized her, sort of rape. And this is the Nirbhaya's, and this is the cyberspace violence. So you have to be aware of that. Okay, and you know, Iceland, among the 156 countries, Iceland ranks first among. Iceland is the topmost. And among the judges, 3 new judges were newly inducted. All these are good trends.
Ma'am, it indeed was an empowering and enlightening talk. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time.
Okay. Now I have to stop. Okay.
Ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
One more thing. I just
yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
show you the link between. the women do not have resources, do not have land, all the dowry is recouped. Sometimes a earning woman, her salary will be asserted by the husband or husband's people, economic violence, subtle and blatant. So she has vulnerability to abuse. So when there is vulnerability to abuse, higher probability of occurrence of violence. When there is higher probability of occurrence of violence, patriarchy gets emboldened and strengthened. And when patriarchy gets emboldened and strengthened, there is lack of resources. So this goes round and round. Okay, I am stopping now. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for the patient listening. So thankful to you. We can go on and on like this. And whenever there is injustice, question that. Okay. Thank you. Anything more?
Thank you, ma'am. With this, we have come to an end of today's session. Let me now invite Dr. Anita Sargent for the vote of thanks.
The roots of goodness lie in the soil of appreciation, a quote by Dalai Lama. I am Dr. Anita Sargent and I'm here to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our management for being the pillars of strength and supporting us to bring up this initiative. Next, I would like to thank the navigator of our ship, Dr. Gigi George Baby, for being our constant support. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our eminent speaker for the day, Professor Dr. Gina Jose, for enlightening us on the topic. In fact, it was an eye-opener, ma'am. Further, I would like to thank our Vice Principal and the Chairperson of our Women's Brigade, Dr. Lisa George, for being the backbone throughout the journey. Next, I would like to extend my gratitude to our Students' Dean, Dr. Joe Sport, all the HODs and faculties, our energetic group of students, the non-teaching staff, and our technical support staff. Thank you all and have a nice day.
Okay, can I take leave now?
Thank you, Dr. Anita.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. We will be continuing tomorrow with yet another interesting talk. Let's all
Okay.
now rise for the national anthem.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.